Being broke actually makes you dumber. I know, that sounds harsh, but it's a scientific fact. Researchers have found that the stress of constant financial struggle can drop your effective IQ by a massive 13 points. That's the same cognitive hit you take from losing a full night of sleep. Imagine trying to navigate your entire life while essentially being a sleep-deprived zombie. That is the reality for millions of people every single day. But there is a specific number where the fog finally starts to lift. It's $5,000 a month. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why your first $5,000 a month is the most important milestone in your financial life. It's not because you're suddenly rich. It's because $5,000 is the exact point where your brain finally stops panicking and starts processing. I'm going to show you how this one number changes your identity, your relationships, and your ability to make even more money. But be warned, there is a massive trap waiting for you at this level that keeps 90% of people stuck in premium broke forever. Let's talk about a guy I know named Marcus. Marcus is a freelance graphic designer. For 3 years, he's been grinding, making about $3,000 a month. He's fine, but he's living in a state of perpetual low-grade anxiety. Every time he goes to the grocery store, he's doing the mental math. You know the game. 180 for food means he only has 220 left for the week. That means no eating out, walking to work on Friday to save gas, and crossing his fingers that the electric bill isn't higher than usual. But here's where it gets interesting. One month, Marcus lands 3 big clients at once. He hits 5,100 in a single month. For the first time in his life, he crosses that 5K barrier. 2 weeks later, he's back at the grocery store. He fills his cart, taps his card, and walks out. He didn't check his balance. He didn't hold his breath waiting for the approved message. He just left. Something fundamental shifted. It wasn't about the eggs and milk. It was about his brain finally having the permission to think about something else. You see, when you're below that 5,000 mark, your brain is constantly running what I call a scarcity background app. Think of it like a heavy program on your computer that's using up 40% of your RAM. You're trying to live your life, but in the background, your brain is constantly calculating rent, car insurance, and the price of coffee. Harvard researchers studied this and called it the bandwidth tax. When you're worried about money, you literally don't have the processing power available to make good decisions. Marcus used to go into client meetings and undercharge by thousands of dollars. Why? Because his brain was too busy calculating if he could pay his credit card minimum to actually listen to what the client needed. He was negotiating from a place of survival, not value. But here's a shocking fact. Once Marcus hit 5,000 consistently, he didn't suddenly become a better designer. He just got his 13 IQ points back. He could finally hear the client. He could see the complexities of the project. Instead of saying, I'll do it for 2,000, he started saying, this is a 10,000 project and I can start in 2 weeks. He stopped sounding desperate, and clients can smell desperation from a mile away. The shift from hoping you can make it to knowing you can make it is a psychological earthquake. Psychologists call this a mastery experience. It's the single most powerful way to build self-belief. Before 5,000, Marcus was an aspiring freelancer. After 5,000, his identity changed. He became a business owner. But wait, don't go buying a Rolex just yet. The last point I'm going to make about the 5,000 trap changed how I think about money forever, but first, we need to look at the cold, hard math. 5,000 a month is 60,000 a year. In America, the median income is around 63,000. When you hit this number, you've officially moved from the bottom half of earners into the top half. You aren't the broke person anymore. You're just normal. However, we have to talk about the invisible hand that reaches into your pocket. If you're self-employed like Marcus, that 5,000 isn't really 5,000. You got self-employment taxes about 765. Income tax is another 600. State tax, health insurance, suddenly your 5,000 is more like 3,000 take-home. It's a huge improvement, but it's not yacht money. So, what does that extra $800 or $1,000 of take-home pay actually buy you? It buys you the annoyance factor. 3 months after hitting his goal, Marcus's check engine light came on. Old Marcus would have had a panic attack. He would have felt like a failure. He would have had to put it on a credit card or call his mom for a loan. But new Marcus, he was just annoyed. He paid the $1,100 repair bill and moved on with his day. This is the hidden magic of $5,000 a month. It turns catastrophes into inconveniences. Since 59% of Americans can't cover a $1,000 emergency with savings, crossing this threshold means you've exited a reality that most of the country is trapped in. You've left the one emergency away from disaster club. If you're finding this valuable, hit subscribe. Most viewers aren't subscribed yet, and I'd love to have you on the team. Now, let's talk about the dark side of this milestone. As Marcus started making more money, something strange happened with his friends. He'd go out to brunch, and while his friends were complaining about the price of eggs, Marcus realized he didn't care. He felt guilty. He felt like he couldn't participate in the "we're all broke" bonding sessions anymore. Harvard analyzed 21 billion Facebook friendships and found that economic cross-connectivity is the strongest predictor of moving up in the world. As your income increases, you naturally start gravitating toward people who aren't in survival mode. You aren't abandoning your old friends, but the distance grows because your daily concerns are different. While they're worrying about making it to Friday, you're worrying about how to scale your business. But here is where Marcus and most people almost ruined everything. I call it the 5,000 trap. By month 6, Marcus was feeling pretty good. His brain told him a very dangerous story. You've made it. You deserve to enjoy this. So, he moved. He found a nicer apartment, only $200 more a month, but no weird smell, and it had a washer dryer. Then, he decided his old car was embarrassing for client meetings. He got a used car with a $400 monthly payment. Then came the gym membership, the better coffee, the extra streaming services. It was all just a little bit more. By month 12, Marcus looked at his bank account and realized something terrifying. He was making $2,000 more a month than he was a year ago, but he still only had $600 in savings. He was exactly as broke as he was before. He just had a nicer view and a faster car. This is lifestyle inflation, and it is a silent killer. Lifestyle inflation is like moving from economy to premium economy on a long flight. You have more legroom, sure, but you're still on the same plane going to the same destination. You're just paying more for the privilege of being stuck. Did you know that 40% of households earning over $500,000 a year say they live paycheck to paycheck? This doesn't fix itself with more money. It only fixes itself with a change in strategy. Marcus had a moment of clarity. He realized that the goal wasn't to live like a $5,000 a month earner. The goal was to use the $5,000 as a foundation. He went back to basics. He canceled the extra subscriptions. He started meal prepping again, not because he was desperate, but because he wanted his options back. And that is the real power of this income level, the power to say no. A client emailed Marcus with a nightmare project. Tight deadlines, rude tone, and a mediocre budget. Old Marcus would have said yes, please, because he needed the rent money. New Marcus, with $10,000 in the bank, simply replied, I don't think I'm the right fit for this. Best of luck. When you can say no to bad money, you create space for great money. Because he wasn't bogged down by a nightmare project, he had the time to create a high-value branding package for $8,000. He sold 2 of them in a month. Suddenly, he wasn't just hitting $5,000, he was scaling toward $10,000 and $15,000. The $5,000 mark isn't the finish line. If you treat it like a destination, you will plateau and stay trapped, trading your time for dollars forever. There is a hard ceiling on how many hours you can work. To get past the $5K to $10K hump, you have to stop being a worker and start being a strategist. You have to raise your rates, productize your services, and leverage your time. 2 years after this journey started, Marcus is back in that same grocery store. He's buying the same 180 in groceries, but this time, 180 represents only about half a day of work for him. He has $47,000 in savings. His stress is at an all-time low. But here's the secret. It doesn't feel like winning. It just feels normal. When you're broke, you think $5,000 a month is magic. When you get there, you realize it's just the threshold where survival ends and the real game begins. It's the point where you finally have the stamina to keep running, but this time, you aren't running away from poverty. You're running toward freedom. So, if you're still doing the mental math at the checkout line, keep going. Your brain is waiting for its 13 points back. But once you get them, don't spend them on a nicer car. Spend them on a better future. What's the one lifestyle inflation item you're tempted to buy once you hit your income goal? Drop a comment telling me what it is. I want to see if we're all thinking of the same things. And subscribe if you haven't. I post new videos every week to help you win the money game. I'm Dollar Bill, and I'll see you in the next one.